Good day, everyone. Today, I will be presenting to you the overview of the market and industry analysis tools. My name is Asnawi Pangkoga Makadaag from B97. Before we begin, let me present to you my personal financial roadmap, starting off with my short term goals. First is to graduate successfully by 2026, then purchase a laptop for my current work. I am currently working as a barangay kagawad and my future work. The laptop will cost around 40,000 pesos. Then for my medium-term goals, first is to land a full-time job in my field, preferably banks, then get health and term life insurance for the security of myself and my family, then start contributing for siblings' education. I've been supporting my siblings since 2023, expand learning in investing, and then invest in stocks. Now, for long-term goals, first is to rehabilitate our two houses in Lano del Sur, which will cost around 2 million pesos. Then build my retirement fund. I will contribute 40% of my salary, grow investment portfolio, and then launch a business, possibly bigasan or motorcycle parts and accessories. Let us now proceed to the overview of the market and industry analysis tools. The market and industry analysis tools. So, market and industry analysis tools are frameworks and methodologies used to evaluate and understand market conditions, competition, and trends. So, these tools help businesses, investors, and stakeholders make informed decisions about entering markets, developing products, and managing risks. So, why is this important to study? Studying market and industry analysis is crucial because it enables businesses to make data driven decisions, reducing uncertainty and risk. With a clear understanding of the market and industry landscape, businesses can craft competitive strategies that differentiate them from others, discover new growth opportunities, and effectively allocate resources. There are four parts of the market and industry analysis tools. First is the macro level analysis, then the industry level analysis, the company level analysis, and the quantitative methods. Let us first begin with the macro level analysis. Now, first in the macro level analysis are the economic indicators. These are the GDP growth rate, inflation rate, unemployment rate, and interest rate. Now, for the GDP growth rate, it measures the rate at which a country's economy is growing or shrinking, indicating overall economic health. So, why does this matter? It reflects the overall economic performance. A positive GDP growth rate suggests economic expansion, while a negative growth rate may signal recession. Now, for inflation rate, it reflects the rate at which the general price level of goods and services is rising, eroding purchasing power. So, higher inflation reduces purchasing power, meaning your money buys less. A moderate rate is normal, but high or low can hurt the economy. Now, for unemployment rate, it indicates the percentage of the labor force that is jobless and actively seeking employment, signaling economic health. So, a high unemployment rate signals economic trouble, while a low rate suggests healthy and functioning economy. Now, for interest rate, the cost of borrowing money typically set by central banks, which affect consumer spending, business investment, and inflation. So, it influences consumer spending, business investment, and inflation. Higher interest rates can reduce inflation but may slow down economic growth. Next, in the macro level analysis are the market cycles. These are the bull market, bear market, and the sector rotation. So in bull market, it is a period where stock prices are rising or expected to rise, often linked to investor optimism and economic growth. So what is it? It is a phase where stock prices are rising or expected to rise. So what does it signal? It signals investor optimism, strong consumer confidence, and often economic growth. So for its investor behavior, it is more likely to buy and hold stocks expecting profits. Now for bear market, it is a period where stock prices are falling or expected to fall, often signaling pessimism or economic downturn. So what is it? It is a phase where stock prices are falling or expected to fall, typically 20% or more from recent highs. So, what does it signal? Pessimism, declining confidence, and often a recession or economic slowdown. So, for investor behavior, it tends to investments or move to a safer assets like bonds or cash. Now, for sector rotation, the movement of investment between different sectors of the economy, usually based on economic cycles or changing market conditions. So, what is it? It is the shifting of investments from one industry sector to another. So, why does it happen? Investors rotate based on where they are expect better returns during different stages of economic cycle or due to market conditions. So examples are during recovery, investors may favor consumer discretionary stocks during downturns or may move to consumer staples or healthcare. Next are the macro level analysis are the global influences. These are geopolitical events, foreign exchange rate events. These are political events such as wars, elections, or trade agreements that impact global markets and investor sentiment. So these events can impact global markets by shaping investor sentiment and causing volatility. Now, for exchange rates, the value of one currency in relation to another, influencing international trade, investment flows, and corporate profit. Changes in exchange, national trade, and corporate profits, making them critical to economic performance. Now, for commodity prices, materials like oil, cultural products, which impact global economic stability and market performance. So, when these prices change, they can influence inflation, production costs, over economic stability. Let us now proceed with the industry level analysis. In the industry level analysis, we have the Porter's five forces, industry life cycle, and competitive landscape. For Porter's five forces, it is a framework for analyzing the competitiveness of an industry by examining five forces: competitive rivalry, threat of new entrants, bargaining power of buyers, bargaining power of suppliers, and threats of substitutes. Businesses understands the dynamic shaping profitability and develop strategies to competitive edge. So, industry life cycle. It describes it goes through introduction, growth, maturity, and decline, helping assess opportunities and risks. So, understanding these stages helps businesses anticipate challenges, time their investments, and adapt strategies based on market development. So, for competitive landscape, evaluates the number and strength of competitors in an industry, market concentration, and the nature of competition. So, it provides an insight into the intensity of competition and potential barriers to success. Let's now proceed to the company level analysis. Company level of the SWOT analysis, financial benchmarking, and competitive positioning. So analysis, it identifies a company's internal strengths and weaknesses along with external opportunities and threats to guide strategic decisions. This helps a company make strategic decisions by evaluating its internal strengths and weaknesses alongside with its external opportunities and threats. So for financial benchmarking, it compares a company's financial metrics like revenue, profit margins, and ratios against industry peers to assess its performance. So financial benchmarking assesses a company's performance by comparing key financial metrics to those of its industry peers. Now, for competitive positioning, determines where a company stands relative to competitors in terms of value, price, brand, and market share. So, competitive positioning identifies how a company is perceived in the market relative to competitors based on factors like value, pricing, demand, and market shares. Lastly are the quantitative methods. In the quantitative methods, we have analysis, growth rate, trends, and sectoral performance matrix. So for market share analysis, it measures a company's sales as a percentage of total industry sales, indicating its dominance or competitiveness. So market share analysis evaluates a company's portion of total industry sales to assess its competitiveness and market dominance. For growth rate trends, it tracks revenue, profit, or market growth over time to identify acceleration, stability, or decline in performance. So for growth rate trends, it monitors changes in revenue, profit, or market size over time to reveal patterns of acceleration, stability, or decline. So for sectoral compares the performance of different sectors using key metrics like ROI, growth, or volatility to identify leaders and laggards. So sectoral performance matrix compares various sectors using indicators like ROI, growth, and volatility to highlight top performing and underperforming industries. In conclusion, understanding market and industry analysis is crucial for making informed strategic decisions in today's dynamic business environment. It provides a structured approach to evaluating economic conditions, industry dynamics, and competitive positioning, which helps businesses anticipate changes, minimize risks, and seize growth opportunities. So, these tools support objective decision making by grounding insights in data and measurable trends. It enhances the ability to forecast developments and assess performance and adapt to shifting conditions across sectors and regions. Overall, market and industry analysis plays a vital role in fostering sustainable growth, competitive advantage, and long term business success.